Hello, Math 133 students. I received a request for help from this problem in the homework, which is 3.4.13. You can see that decimal if you send it with Ask My Instructor if it doesn't show up on your screen. All right, now I am going to do the example, but it'll be very similar to the problem. So it says a highly selected boarding school will only admit students who place at least 3.5 standard deviations above the mean on a standardized test that has a mean of 150 and a standard deviation of 18. What is the minimum score that an applicant must make on the test to be accepted? Okay, so we're going to use the z-score formula to do this. So let me go back and remind everybody what the z-score formula is. Okay, so the z-score formula is you take your value minus the mean and divide it by the standard deviation. Let me make the print bigger, 1 second. There, that's significantly bigger. Okay, so now they said that you had to score at least 3.5 standard deviations above the mean. So you have to be bigger than that. So I'm just going to solve for that, and that'll help me. So then X is what I don't know. I don't know what score I need to get on this test, but I know that my Z-score has to be 3.5 because it said, let me bring it back. You have to score at least 3.5 standard deviations above the mean. Well, that's what a z-score is. A z-score is a measurement of how many standard deviations above or below the mean you are. Now I know that my z-score is 3.5. I know that my mean was 150 and my standard deviation was 18 because it said so. So there we go. Okay, so now I want to solve this for x. X is what I'm looking for. I want to be able to figure out what number this must be in order to make it so this works out 3.5 standard deviations. So the first thing I need to do is get rid of the 18, right? Division by 18 is no good to me. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 18. And of course, whatever you do to the right, you have to do to the left to keep it all nice and fair and balanced, right? Because it's an equation. Over here, these are of course going to cancel. Oop, not that. I pressed the wrong thing, sorry. There. So 18 divided by 18 cancels. It disappears. It divides to 1 if you want to think of it this way. 18 over 18 is 1. And now I need a calculator or something because I need to know what 18 times 3.5 is. So let me pull up the calculator really quickly. I'm going to make it smaller because I don't need that big of a screen. Okay, so let me quit. If ever you're in the calculator and you don't know how to, you don't want to be where you are, second quit. It's above the mode button. It really helps. It gets you out of whatever you were doing. So 18 times 3.5 equals 63. So I'm going to have 63 equals, and then what's left over here is the x minus 150. So it's a tiny bit of algebra. You're solving for x. Now I need to get x by itself, so I'm going to add 150 to both sides. So I need to know what 63 plus 150 is. So x would be 63 plus 150 because I'm adding, so if you will, what I'm doing is, hold on, adding to 150 here, and I'm also doing it over to the other side, right? Adding it over there, and I'm adding it over here, right? I'm doing it to both sides. And then this is going to be 0 because negative 150 plus 150 disappears. So these two go away, and I'm left with 63 plus 150 over on the other side. And 63 plus 150 would be, let's see, 63 plus 150, enter, 213. So there's what we need. We need to score at least a 213 in order to be at least 3.5 standard deviations away. So we must score at least 213 on this exam. All right, now let's double check me with what they wrote for their thing. So they've got the z-score formula. There it is. They solve, see, x. They're doing the inequality part, which is fine because it's a minimum score. So basically, as long as you know, hey, I have to be at least 213, right? 213 or higher. And there you go. And that would be the answer to that question. So it's a little bit different because you're using the z-score formula in a different way. Rather than taking the x and the mu and the sigma and finding z, you're taking a z and solving for x. So you have to kind of solve the equation and work backwards, which requires a touch of algebra. Sorry about that. We won't have a lot of algebra in this class, but there's a little bit right there. All right, I hope that helps.